Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beyond Breakthrough, your go to for breakthrough stories from difference making entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Like Fairy, and today we have the one and only Karleigh Lindsay, who is the CEO and founder of Aligned and Empowered, which perfectly fits our topic for today, stepping into your aligned, empowered self. She's making an impact on the world by helping people align to their authenticity and tap into their true power. She has a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and lives out her true purpose in guiding others through intuitive alignment coaching. A lot of alignment stuff going on. I'm so excited to dive deeper into this and pick your brain. Her coaching is also custom made, practical, and spiritual for every single client that she works with as they discover their own definition and personal versions of success. So, whoo, you're doing a lot. There's a lot going on. Tell us a little bit more, Karleigh.
Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a very customized approach. I do not think anything is one size fits all. And really, the purpose of my coaching is to help you find the answers within you. I do have some strategizing that I do with clients, like things that they haven't thought of necessarily in terms of how to get things done, but mostly it's about asking the right questions to get them to get their own answer and so that they're living a life that's authentic and true to them, and then using that magnetic authenticity to manifest what they want. And so that's what the empowered part of aligned and empowered is, that like authenticity is such a magnet, and when we're being ourselves, like the best version of ourselves, the higher self, all those versions of self that are really true to our core, it is such a magnet, and it really creates true magic in your life. I've seen it time and time again.
Yeah. And I love how all of this creates this definition of success on a very personal and individual level. I myself have gone through such a journey in understanding what success actually looks like for me. So, for someone who is kind of working with cultural conditioning, they already have like these preconceived definitions of what success should look like. Where do you begin to help them reframe that and realign them to what truly calls them in life?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of simple and also complicated. It's but it's simple in that, it's kind of just like, what do you want? Like, and
Mhm.
for a lot of people, that's a huge question that maybe they've never asked themselves. And then you can dig a little deeper after you get to what they want, especially if I'm very intuitive. So I will get a sense of like, is that really what you want? Or is that what you were told that you should want? And so I
Yeah.
find a lot of people who are they're living in like supposed to land, right? Like I'm supposed to get married, have kids, make enough money, etc.
Mhm.
And you're really not supposed to do anything. Like the right way is the way that feels the best to you. And so learning that right is subjective has been huge in my personal growth and my learning experience in general, because I am a Virgo rising and I love to do it right. Like I'm like, can you explain exactly how to do that so I can follow your step by step instructions? And when
Mhm.
you're creating a life that you love, that's really not how you do it. Like, just following anybody's guide for your life is going to lead you to burnout and just feeling like crap. Those people who are writing in their journal over and over again, like, why is it this way? I'm stuck. I can't figure it out. That's because they're living in their conditioning.
Mm. So what did that journey look like for you? Because I'm sure you had a certain image or version of success you were also working with before when you were working with your conditioning. So what was that before, and what helped you kind of break through that image and help you reclaim what success really is for you?
Yeah, so I actually thought I wanted to be a doctor for about 12 years. I
Okay.
chased this dream of becoming a doctor. It started when I was 12 years old. One of my friends died of cancer, and I thought, I know what to do. I'm going to become a doctor. I'm going to save kids like him so kids like me don't have to feel like this. And in my 12-year-old mind, it made so much sense, right? And then I was like 17 and I was about to graduate high school early. So I was only in high school for 3 years because I wanted to be a doctor like as quickly as possible, and another one of my friends died of cancer, and I'm like, it's a calling. I'm like, God wouldn't kill two of my friends to not lead me down this path. Like, I know I want to be a doctor. And I went to college I was pre-med in college, psych pre-med. Um, and then I applied to med school, and I just kept getting the door slammed in my face. And I would have doctors reading my essays, and they would be like, these are great. Like, you're great at, like, as a medical scribe, I was great at, kind of playing doctor a little bit. Like, I would be able to anticipate what the plans were going to be and, like, pick up on things that other providers weren't. And so I was great at it. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm meant to be a doctor. This is a calling. And around my third application to med school, I was like, all right, this is it. I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to do it. I lost complete motivation. All of a sudden, I was like, I don't want this anymore. And then I was like, what is wrong with me? I went to therapy, and we were like, okay, maybe it's anxiety. We developed a plan. And I was still feeling like, is this even for me? Do I even want this? That's what kept coming up over and over again, is, do I even want this? Hence, that is how you know you're living in conditioning. So then I was in a group coaching setting that I kind of accidentally got into. I signed up for, like, what I thought was going to be like weekly yoga, and it wound up having like all this coaching in it. And so I was at this empowerment coaching like class, and the girl leading it, Erica Sauer, she's a life coach. She's amazing. And she said, desire is God showing you the path. And I was like, for the very first time at 24 years old, I took a step back and I was like, okay, wait, what do I really want? And I asked myself my own vision finding question. I had already gone to life coach school. And so I know the vision finding questions, but I thought I had the vision in my head. So I finally asked myself, like, okay, if I could have absolutely anything and be certain I wouldn't fail, like, what do I really want for my life? And I wanted to travel, and I loved working from home during the pandemic. I wanted to be able to pick up my computer and take work anywhere and, make a good amount of money. And like, there was all these things that I really wanted to do. And I just realized that my ideal life that I really wanted didn't fit with doctor. So I was like, I can help people in other ways, but if I really want to travel and have a lot of fun and take work anywhere and not spend 12 hours a day in a hospital, then I'm going to have to, change course. So that's kind of how I wound up here.
Wow. Changing course requires so much bravery and resilience. And a lot of, like you were talking about earlier, reconditioning and reprogramming your mind and believing a whole new set of beliefs and values. And what I'm curious is, when most people have a set plan of success in mind and they go through like doctor school, like medical school, I mean, and
Totally.
we are going through the motions. They feel so attuned to their next step. Like, hey, I have signs. The universe is telling me this is what I'm meant to do. A lot of people will put aside their doubt in order to go full-fledged in the direction that they absolutely believe is true to them. And so I think that can cause a little confusion, like, hey, what is the difference between doing something that's hard, that's aligned with me, and it is what I'm supposed to be doing, versus working hard at something that isn't aligned with me, and that's the reason why it's hard? Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I think that you have to think about the outcome, right? Because I do hard things all day as an entrepreneur. Like, this is way out of my comfort zone. Like, I woke up every day when I first became a life coach, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, how do you own a business? I'm great at life coaching, great at life coaching. I was just okay at running a business for the first like couple years, honestly. And so I had to learn that the difference between applying to med school and doing that while it was hard, and I did that twice, which is really, if you've never done med school applications, it is a lot. It is so much. And I get it, and it should be hard, okay? Like, I'm not knocking the process by any means. I want my doctor to be smart and resilient and courageous and dedicated and persistent. I totally do. But when I thought about the vision, right? Like when I thought about myself as a doctor versus myself as a life coach that can travel, that helps people with their minds. I've always loved psychology. I thought I had to be a bio major to go to med school, took one psych class and was like, this is it. And
Mhm.
so I've always loved the mind. And I was able to, realize that like the resistance that says like this isn't for you is not the same as the resistance of this is hard. And I think the difference is when you imagine the outcome, right? When you visualize what's going to be done at the end of this, it either
Mhm.
pushes you toward it or it feels heavy and like it's not you. And like, am I just doing this because I'm supposed to? Am I just doing this because I don't want to let people down? Am I afraid of quitting? I was raised in a household where you were never allowed to quit anything.
Mhm.
And so, and no, that's a valuable skill to an extent, but sometimes you have to know when to quit. And when I realized that med school was really a trauma response, it was just me reacting. And I realized also that my 12-year-old self doesn't get to make decisions for me anymore,
Oh,
And so I had to think like, what does 24-year-old me want, like 12-year-old me had intentions, but she had no idea what she was signing up for. She just didn't want other people to feel the pain she was feeling. And honestly, now doing what I'm doing, I know that I'm still living out that intention of 12-year-old me because I do help people feel better. But now I'm not repairing their bodies, I'm repairing their mindsets and the way that they approach their whole lives.
right. And stepping out of your comfort zone is obviously uncomfortable no matter what you're doing. But I remember a conversation we had before about this fun, comfy analogy
Yeah.
that I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about what that is.
Yeah, so fun comfy is something that I totally made up. I was really getting comfortable being uncomfortable. As an entrepreneur, you have to do something out of your comfort zone pretty much every day, okay? Whether it's outreach or, showing up online. I really had to look my fear of being seen in the face and say, F it, like I just have to try and just see, and that's okay. And so I coined the term fun comfy, which is about getting uncomfortable but having fun with it. And the fun part of getting uncomfy is the other side of it, right? You take the ice bath, you get out, you're like, wow, I did it, like 2 minutes in an ice bath, damn. And I actually started really slow with just cold showers. So at the very end of my shower, only like 2 days a week when I wash my hair, I would turn it all the way to cold and like just try getting uncomfortable. And what that did for me was it showed me that I have the power to decide when I get uncomfortable. It showed me how capable I am of sitting in the discomfort. And it really made it kind of fun. Like I look forward to the cold part of my shower now. Sometimes, most of the like most of the time, it's exciting to me to do the uncomfortable. And so that's where fun comfy comes in, and it's all about mindset, right? Like if you decide this is going to be fun, comfy, you're already thinking about it differently. You're not thinking like, I really don't want to. I really don't want to, but it's fun, comfy.
Mhm.
Um, and other things that are fun, comfy are like first dates or like learning and filming a TikTok dance. That is so fun, comfy to me. Like it's kind of fun. It's a little rewarding. You end with this cute video, but it's uncomfortable and it's hard. And you have to fight those thoughts of like, am I too old to be doing this? Or like, do I look ridiculous? And you
Mhm.
just have to decide, like, you know what? This is what I chose to do. I'm going to see it through, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. I I love this idea of fun comfy because it reminds you of how important it is to be intentional with the things that you're doing. And with intention comes the value of clarity. It's almost a necessity, I feel like, to have clarity to help push you through those fun, comfy situations. So, could you talk a little bit more about why clarity is such an important part about growing as an entrepreneur and stepping into your version of success?
Yeah, well, if you don't know what you want, how can you get after it? You have
Mhm.
to get really clear on your goals and where you want to go and how you want to get there. And you don't have to have it all figured out. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
telling people
Mhm.
that they need like a 10-year plan with a, direct roadmap. And for some people, yeah, great. If that's how your brain works, absolutely create your 10-year plan and follow the steps every single day. But I think for most of us, it's kind of just like, what do you want and what can you do today to get you a little bit closer to that goal?
Mm. I love that perspective because I just had a question asked of me, what was it? Like a couple weeks ago, where they asked me, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like the impact that you're creating in the world in 5 years?" And my only response to that was, I have no idea because I'm constantly changing and evolving as a person. And so I feel like my compass is always being recalibrated based on the new things that I'm learning, beliefs I'm creating, and just personal development as a whole. So as I feel like clarity refocuses itself as you go along your journey, and I'd love to hear about how you respond to your clients, for example, if they come with you with one goal that they feel like they were really clear about, but then they maybe a couple weeks or months down the road, they're like, oh my God, Karleigh, I just have a new idea. And this one's really calling me. But they're very conflicted because, hey, we were working on this thing and now you want to do something totally different. How do you respond to that when clarity changes and it causes so much of a rift and a pivot in what is currently being worked on?
Yeah, so I actually love dealing with transitions, which is exactly what that is. Like, I
Mm,
love when a client is like, you know what, I've changed my mind because I have a lot of experience with it. And changing your mind is hard. Like, it sometimes it feels like, if I make this one change, my whole life is going to come crashing down. And the truth
right.
is, your life will probably change. Every decision is a life changing moment. And that's not meant to be scary. It's meant to be empowering because every decision you make is a step in the right direction, right? And so,
Oh,
yeah, clarity can change, right? So, when a client comes to me and they're like, I have this new thing, one, I'll dig a little deeper. I'll ask them a lot more questions like, okay, so like, what does that look like for you? Where does this feel more like you than that other thing we were working on? Things like that to really help them get to the bottom of like, is this an authentic change or is this a fear based change? I have a rule, never make decisions based on fear. So we'll find out, are you feeling excited and making this change because you're excited and feeling pulled? Or are you feeling afraid of what we were working on and self
mm,
sabotaging towards something else? And that's why every approach is custom and why it's really important to ask the client questions. And as a coach, just FYI, coaches should never be telling you what you should do. That's not coaching.
mhm.
And so if anybody's ever like, yeah, you should, no, it's really not up to me to impart my opinions, my advice, anything on the clients. We will strategize together, but I will never tell them what they should do, what I think is the better idea, etc. It's about what they want, and my job is to support them in getting what they want moment to moment. If they come every session with a new idea, then we will work on that new idea until it sticks, and I'm more than happy to, continue changing course. I like the flexibility and the fluidity of designing your own life. Yeah, you're more than allowed to change your mind. In fact, it's encouraged to change your mind as many times as you need to avoid living a life that's not yours, that doesn't feel authentic.
Yes, that aligns so well with the intuitive coaching that you do. And for those who are listening right now who are very new to understanding their intuition and learning how to tap into that, what are some exercises or practices they can do to connect with their intuition if they're just beginning this journey?
Yeah, I love that. Journaling in the morning, amazing. Because then the first thing that you are, experiencing are your own thoughts, and they're coming through. You're getting them out of your head, and you're hearing your voice before the noise, before you pick up the phone, before you look at social media. I do like to read books in the morning, sometimes before journaling, but that the thing is consciously choosing what you're putting in your mind first, and then putting your thoughts on paper so that you can, really experience them and read
Yeah.
them again if you choose, or if nothing else, get them out of your head and kind of learn who you are, what you're thinking about first thing in the morning. Um, I have so many tips for intuition, but oracle cards really helped me with my intuition. So I got the Notes from Your Higher Self deck, which was written by my friend Maddie Murphy, and it comes with a card that says every day for 30 days, draw a card, journal on the answer, and then come back at the end of the day and talk about how that showed up for you. And so that was huge in developing my intuition, because I was pulling these cards and I was seeing what they said. But to me, that's not the important part of oracle cards. The important part is what comes up to in your brain after
Mhm.
you read the card. And that's your intuition. And
I love
so
that.
for
Yeah, sorry, go
so
ahead.
it's okay. For me, intuition feels like a little pull, almost like an impulse, and it's kind of fleeting. It's not gonna like bug you. Typically, if like your thoughts are bugging you, they're not intuitive. They think about the content of them. There's a lot more we could go into at that. But so your intuition, and it will feel different for everyone. Learning my human design really helped me figure out what my intuition was, and everybody's a little bit different. Um, and of course, I can help people with that. So if you're hearing that and you're like, please help me, just come find me on Instagram. I'm more than happy to help. Um, but so there's little things that I learned, and really not being afraid of trial and error, right? So if you get
Mhm.
this thought, some people's intuition shows up as like images, or some people get a gut pull, or some people it's their emotions. And for me, it's like this little whisper, almost an impulse, like just a reflex, like I should, or we should, really quick, just a fleeting thought. And how I learned that was my intuition is by following it and testing it. So did that go well when I followed that quick impulsive thought? Yes. Okay, intuition. And if it was something else, right? I've tried following other thoughts that maybe I thought were intuition, and then it didn't work out. And I was like, okay, not my intuition, something else, whether it's fear-based or my inner roommate or something else.
How does human design interact and align with learning about your intuition?
Yeah. So the way that I view it, which it could be different from for other human design experts and coaches, but the way I view it is that your authority is telling you your intuition. So in human design, I'm a splenic authority, which is the intuitive authority, and that's why my intuition feels like impulses. But our mutual friend Rachel, she's an emotional authority, and so she makes her decisions best when she assesses how she feels about it, and that's reflected in her human design chart. There's other people who are sacral authority. Most generators are sacral authority, and they have to follow their like fuck yeses. So like it will feel like a full body hell yes. It will feel like it's coming from like the sacral area. Like it might even turn you on a little bit. And that is right. That is your intuition. And it's different for everybody. And you really learn. And I love that they call human design an experiment, right? Because it is. You learn your human design, you try to start integrating, and then you see what goes well and what doesn't. And the things that don't, you're not married to. And the things that do, keep them.
That's empowering to understand your human design and how it helps you work with your intuition. Because you could have been raised in an environment where people would constantly tell you, do not trust your emotions, do not trust your
Mm-hmm.
feelings, it always lead you astray. And then that can cause so much confusion and frustration. Obviously, as you've seen, I'm sure, working with people who need to, or not need to, but who would benefit from that unconditioning and the unlearning. So if people want to work with you, want to get this clarity, understand their human design more and understand what success truly means for them, how can they do that?
Yeah. So my call system is changing a little bit, but it will be remotely the same probably. So right now it's a free 30-minute call where we just dive deep onto what's going on. It's totally free. And we just talk about where you are and where you want to be and what's standing in the way of that. It's basically free 30 minutes of coaching. And then if you decide, like, okay, like, I really liked that. I liked the clarity I got. I would love to do that either for 90 minutes in a breakthrough session or for 3 months and have a whole radical life change, like really become more authentically you, then you're a candidate for my 3 months coaching. And so I like to meet people where they are. And in that 30-minute call, and it's totally up to the client. So I pull the human design and astrology charts of every client. But most of my coaching is research backed psychology based because that's what my degree is in. So it's a little bit of both. And that's why it's a spiritual, customized, practical approach, is because I check the human design and astrology charts for the map, right? So this is showing up and this correlates with your human design here. You're struggling with decisions. Okay, well, look at your authority. You're struggling with being seen and heard. Okay, well, look at your strategy in human design. Now, there's some things like when I get really mad, I'm angry. When I get really angry, I cry. Okay, well, do you have Mars in Cancer? Because we can work with that. We can teach you how to work with it. And it helps the client see this is just who I am. This is who I was born to be. And I can create workarounds, but I don't need to become someone else to fit into society's expectations or be anyone that I don't want to be. I think we forget that as adults, we have the power. We don't have to live our parents' version of success anymore.
Mm-hmm. I love all of that because you can look up your human design chart for free, but there is so much information in there, and it's a whole other ball game to understand how your design helps you in your business and how it can empower you to grow your business and be a better CEO, how to be a better collaborator, and all of these other things. It's like a Pandora's box of amazingness. So absolutely get on that free 30-minute clarity call with the amazing Karleigh. And with our completing question today, I want to ask, what is the difference you hope to make in this world after you are long gone?
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope that I get to have the domino effect, right? When we're living as our true self, life feels good. It feels fun and exciting and authentic and true to you. And when we're being true to ourselves and we're encouraging the people around us, whether it be our children, our siblings, our coworkers, to be themselves too, right? Sometimes being yourself is the loudest way you can love somebody because you create space for them to be themselves too. And so long after I'm gone, I hope that the world that I've made it such a big impact on the world, that people are parenting more authentically, that they're really giving their loved ones and anyone they interact with. I mean, even the person at the gas station, you see somebody like I remember as a kid, little sidebar. I remember as a kid being at the grocery store and being like, oh, grown-ups aren't supposed to like play and have fun. And like, screw that. If you want to like sing and dance in the grocery store and that's what makes grocery shopping easier for you, do it. And so I want a world where we're all like super supportive of you doing whatever makes your time on earth easier and more fun for you.
Ooh, oh my goodness. I love all of that. It resonates so deeply. My inner child is happy listening to that last bit there. Thank you so much for joining us, Karleigh. For those of you who are listening, please follow or subscribe to this podcast. And if you heard something that was life changing or simply something you just don't want to forget, make sure to download this episode. It helps the work that we do in this world and amplifies the impact that our guests create as well. All right, that's it. Thanks, Karleigh, and we'll see you at the next breakthrough.
Thank you so much for having me, Leica.